Hello, you're welcome everyone. My name is Bridget. You are welcome to Life with Bridget, the podcast where real conversations come to life with life discussions, insightful interviews, and conversations that inspire. Well, today's another Saturday. I'm happy to be here. For those of you that are not available to tune in for the live podcast on the Instagram live, please, there's going to be a repost on YouTube on Live with Bridget. Please subscribe, follow us. We need honest feedback from you. Thank you very much. So today I have a guest. Most of you know him. For those of you that do not know him, this is an opportunity for you to get to know him, understand what he does, and his contribution to the community. So I'm here to introduce to you Mr. Abiodun Disu, and I'm going to read a little bio about him like we always do. Mr. Abiodun Disu is a certified financial professional with over 2 decades in the banking sector, both in Nigeria and Canada. He is a graduate of the university where he studied economics from University of Illinois. He is also an MBA graduate in finance from LASSO, and he has an MBA as well in corporate finance from the University of Liverpool. Mr. Disu is a certified financial advisor and an independent broker. He has been practicing in Canada for over 6 years and also in the US for over 6 years. He is happily married to his beautiful wife, like he likes to say, and he has amazing kids. So please help me welcome Mr. Disu. Yay! So Mr. Disu, you're welcome. I appreciate your presence here. It means a whole lot to me. Thank you for honoring the call, sir. I know I've read a little about your bio. You're trying to be a noble person and very, you don't want to horn it out. I respect that. So is there anything that you think that I haven't mentioned here that you want people to know about you?
Well, basically, the only correction I need to make here is my US license is a little about a year now. But in Canada, I've been in Canada for almost 7 years now. And in Nigeria, I have over 2 decades in the banking sector. So just let me put that record straight.
Oh yeah, you heard that. I stand corrected. So his financial advising licensing in the US is a little above 1 year, and he's been practicing in Canada for more than 6 years. So you have heard him. Let's have that at the back of our head that this is what it is. And today's topic, I usually let you know what the topics are for those of you that have not seen the topic for each episode that we showcase, is Mastering Financial Literacy, a guide for immigrants in Canada. Note that myself and Mr. Disu are immigrants in Canada. We've been here for close to 7 years. Oh wow, we came almost about the same time. So we're that, batch that boomed into Canada, with all our baggages, ready to come start a new life here. And so far, I must say that all of us in that batch, I think we're more like the second batch that had that influx to Canada. Well, God has blessed us for at least doing well, trying our best, and we're grateful to God for everything. So let's dive in perfectly while we begin this. So I know that I know I attended briefly one of your conferences you had at 603 Loch Lomond, the church basement. I came in late and I breathed out again. There were a lot of people. I'm like, oh wow, this is really interesting because and it's also an avenue for people to learn as well, because a lot of people are not opportune or have that opportunity to learn about financial literacy and how this can be helpful to them as individuals and also as a family, as a whole. So as a certified financial professional, can you share your perspectives on why mastering financial literacy is crucial for immigrants, for newcomers, irrespective of wherever they're coming from, and what makes financial literacy a foundational skill for newcomers here.
Thank you very much for that question. And I'll just put it this way. Financial literacy is just like any other thing that you are getting into that is completely different from the norms where you are coming from. Being an immigrant in a country, I felt that, being in the banking sector, I know all that needs to be known. Even with the master in corporate finance with Liverpool University, I thought I had it all. When I got here, there was a big shock in the financial space called North America. When I use the word North America, I use those words loosely because what happened in the USA automatically spill over to Canada and vice versa. So the financial foundation you may have just work almost opposite to what you have from wherever you're coming from. How do I mean? Most of us are either from West Africa or some few from East Africa. I don't want to mention particular country. And in all these countries I just mentioned, we are used to the debit way of life. But in the US, in Canada especially, it is credit. So it's like, wow, you are like an hand that find yourself in a sugar box. Then you're going to hit yourself to a state of stupor.
Oh, wow.
However, there is no free lunch anywhere in the world. So need to be very cautious about that because we are in a credit society, not debit society. So that's one of the things I want all new migrants, even the existing one, that they should be cautious of because it could be like a booty trap. If you get into it, you might need to use what we call the atomic way to get out of it. But I'll get to that when questions arise on that. So I think that's what I need to say concerning that.
Okay, I heard. I hope you've all heard that. Myself being here too, I was like, okay, this is a credit society that we're in, right? Unlike back, in some of the countries where immigrants come from, their origin is like, okay, you need to have the money to do anything, like the raw cash to do anything you'd want to do. But in North America, it is totally different. We don't want your cash. Hey, take credit. Here you go. And get fed with it. But you have to be careful. Not every free meal is a free meal. So that takes me to my second question. For someone like that is arriving here, maybe newcomer, immigrants, what are some of the critical first steps that they can take towards making financial decisions? And is there anything that most people overlook during their initial settlement that could make a big difference in the long run?
Thank you very much for that question also. I understand that everybody coming to Canada, there's what is called POF. We might think they're just acting it for action's sake. The answer is no. With a POF, it helps you not only settle down in Canada, it also gets you out of that booty trap debt that you might encounter if you do not have that. How do I mean? Some are very lucky. Right from their country of origin, they've landed a job here in Canada. Wow, congratulations to those set of people. But for those that it is when they get to Canada that they'll start putting their resume together, because one first thing that's going to shock you, I'm a living example with over 2 decades experience in the banking sector. The first job I got in the banking sector here, I was given a tailoring position. Wow. Honestly, I didn't spend 2 weeks. I have to leave that job, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is that because you need your proof of fund to pay for the basic thing when you first get here. Yeah, you are allowed to operate your debit society kind of thing here in the very first week or 2 weeks or a month that you are here. But once you've gotten a paid employment, the first account you are opening, either as a permanent resident or as a temporary resident, quote and unquote, now student, is they will give you a credit card. in my 20 years plus in the banking sector, the only time I was given a credit card was when I got into that senior management position. So you can imagine, even being their employee, I was not given a credit card. So you can imagine you now get there, they will give you 20,000, 2,000 or 1,000, depending on your level. But please be careful with it. Ensure that as you are spending that money, that card, your POF is enough to pay for what you are spending. Please be mindful of that. Thank you.
Whoa, I totally agree. Like, so sometimes we do chit chats like on Life with Bridget, and we have a recorded version already. And I remember talking about credit cards and stuff like that. The first month that I came, because we're buying, my credit card was maxed out. Like, trust me, it just displaced me. I'm like, oh my God, my husband's gonna be upset. What do I do? I'm like, oh babe, here I am, credit card, that's Bafuka. And he goes, okay, not a problem. We have enough proof of funds that we can cover that. But please, let's be mindful and be guided. Don't come and feel that, oh, because it's credit card, whoa, free money. And you begin to buy, yes, spend, buy. Please, you pay this money back. And most of this comes with interest rates that are really high. Trust me. I have worked in the banking sector here. Like, I worked here. So please, learn. I always mention that this is not just your regular podcast. We learn here. Opportunities to learn from people's experience. I always tell you, I come with a pen and a paper. This is me. I am the guest, I am the host here, but I take notes because these are moments for learning for me. So I hope you're learning as well. Now, in building a credit from scratch can be intimidating sometimes. I get that. But as a certified financial professional, what's the smartest and most effective way for a newcomer to start building credit in Canada, and how long does it typically take to see results in that?
Yeah, for a new migrant, building a credit card and credit profile might look daunting, but it's also very easy. How do I mean? Yeah, we all have monthly expense. There are some expenses that you cannot use your credit card for. That is given. But for other expense that you are allowed to use your credit card, please spend it. However, caveat here, note of caution here. As you are spending, ensure that this is what you will have spent if you are using your client card or debit card, as it is called here in Canada, because there is a 21 days window that you were given to pay what they call the minimum pay. I emphasize the minimum pay. Please beware, be careful, and take note of that word minimum pay, because that is the first trap if care is not taken, right? You pay the minimum bill, voila. Whatever balance is there, they will just, charge it as the whatever percentage you were given. However, if you continue to meet the minimum amount, I also advise, if you have the money to pay everything in full, please do not pay everything in full. Just leave a room of maybe 5% or 2% of the total amount you are owing. All this helps you to build your credit faster than, I spent 2,000 within the 21 days window, I pay by the 2,000. No, that helps. It's a good thing. It gives you very good credit, but it doesn't move you faster. But just leave a little, maybe 5%, max 10%, just at least for them to have something, because that is what keeps the company that gives the credit card going. And hey, credit card is all over the place. Canada Tire has a credit card. Walmart has a credit card. Even Costco, they all have a credit card. They will all be bombarding you with it because it is where they make their money from. However, a smart person can actually pick from all of this, but ensure, I repeat, what you are spending, at least you have 95% of what you are spending to pay it back within the 21 window. With that, you see your credit score moving faster. However, should you miss a payment, it's going to affect your credit, but not really that much. but do not allow missed payment to happen. We simply mean that you should set your calendar. Okay, credit card payment, at least 3 days to the expiration day, so that the calendar will keep reminding you, and you will know you need to make this payment before so period. Hence, you are a good person, your credit card is good, and you have a very good score. Thank you.
Wow. So, I don't know, I learned a lot. Like, I see every opportunity as a learning opportunity for me. So when I started with the whole credit card thing, so what I do after the first 2 months that I messed up, right? I was so scared. I'm like, okay, no, this thing wasn't happening.
Don't want to go near it again.
Yeah, so the moment I get the deal, I just pay all the money. Wow, one time. When I pay, I don't spend again till the cycle is over. And my husband said, come, madam, let us talk about this thing. And he got him like, what's going on? Until I started working at the bank, then I started learning 1 or 2 things. I'm like, oh, wow, really? Oh, wow. So when you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, they said, now you know. There's a reason why that is out there. Thank you, Mr. Disu.
You're welcome.
And how many immigrants and okay, let me don't put it out in that statistic way in the question, but many immigrants arrive with some debts.
Okay.
What's your advice for someone juggling debts, let's say like the students' loans and credit card, loans, while trying to establish a solid financial base here? How can they balance paying off debt and saving for the future?
Okay, that's a very big question, right? And I'll try to make it as simple as ABC. You are here knowing that you and I have, you've messed up with your report with the government, so government believe that you have everything intact, that is yours, that is why you're coming in and they allowed you in.
Yeah.
You got here, the reality is on ground. There is no that job that somebody have told you. In fact, from the airport, they'll be giving you employment opportunity. That is a fallacy. So the reality is done on you now. So what do? So what I always advise is whatever amount we're owing, especially if it's not within Canada, please, if there is a way you can keep that money you're owing back home, keep it that way is better. Because being a student, especially if you are a student and you're owing your school fee and all of that, you're actually setting yourself up. You are actually setting yourself up for a disaster, because you are not landed, or you are just landing and you are already in some booth. There are several ways you can work with your school by making an arrangement. It is allowed, it is legal, it doesn't give you a bad credit or whatsoever. In fact, nations in the world, they all have one form of arrangement or the other to make payment. Meet with your school, make a realistic payment arrangement, and ensure that whatever arrangement you have with your school, you meet up with it. Because especially those who come into Canada as a student, that is your part to your PR and citizen. So if that part is messed up right from the onset, definitely that person may have to pack his or her bag and go back to his or her country of origin. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but please, it is a guide, because if you don't want to set up for a disaster, ensure you do that. And as you now get the arrangement on file, please ensure anything and everything you need to do. There are a lot of things you can do that I can't start, measuring them on live program like this. Perhaps if you get in touch with me one-on-one, I can, give you some more secret on how you can go about this without you incurring more debt, and at the same time, you do not have a bad record with your school, because your school is your first contact here in Canada. Any future employer will always refer to your school, want to know about you with your school. And alas, if your school have a bad thing to say about you, you getting a job might be a very tough task.
He who has ears, let him hear.
Yeah.
All right. For someone starting with little or no saving, what are the best ways to begin saving or investing in Canada? Like, are there any investment vehicles that newcomers should focus on first to maximize their financial growth?
Well, the school of thought says that savings, investment, whatever it is, because most of us, where we're coming from, oh, I have 500,000 naira or 500,000 CD or whatever is the currency from your country of choice. You go to the bank, I want to have a fixed deposit. They're not like that here in Canada. The best they will give you is 1.2 or 1.8%. They put your money in GIC, right? And what good you have from them? Practically nothing. But with what I've learned so over 6 years or thereabout, there are rules and regulations guiding everything. If you follow the principle, you can never mix it. Then what is called financial foundation, I call it Fin 101. And what does that mean? It's just like a typical African person or non-European person that want to build a house. We know that to build a house, you start from the foundation up. You don't build a house by starting from the roof. The house have nowhere, the roof have nowhere to stand on. So definitely it will collapse. But if you have a foundation, then you build up on it, then that's the way to go. So what is that financial foundation, or what I term Fin 101? Very simple. You start by first protecting yourself. No matter how little you can afford, start with your protection. And I will tell you why. It's very simple. You put all your funds maybe in stock market, but that's the only way you can also make money. Either you put it in stock market or mutual fund, or you put it in segregated fund. And segregated fund also make use of the stock too, because all those portfolio will go into one stock or the other. Let's just take recent what happened from January 20th. It's a simple sneeze from the president of the United States. We sent all the stock in the world spiraling. Most of them will nose that into negative. What happened? If you put all your funds there, that means what we're keeping, you've lost. But with your foundation, that is the basis where you can now springboard from. When you have your foundation, you ensure that as a newcomer, you don't get involved in debt. Debt could be a credit card debt, and it could be maybe, what do you call it now, advance from the bank, any form of debt, any money that is not yours, and you've used or you've consumed is a debt. So you try to get out of debt, especially debt within Canada. Yeah, if you're owing some uncles, daddies, and big brothers at home, I'm sure they won't borrow you that money without any collateral. Maybe you've used your house and all of that, so they know that you're still going to pay them their money. But try to get out of debt in Canada. So that's the second layer. The third layer is for you to have an emergency fund. That is the interpretation of what they call POF, proof of fund. That is that money that will be there in case you need to make some emergency purchase, or you need to do some emergency repair, or you need to make some emergency payment. That is what that is. So it is when you satisfy these other three conditions, then you can now go to the apex of it, which is the roof. So it could be in mutual fund. If you're the type that know about mutual fund, some are talking about cryptocurrency. Yes, it has come to stay. But to me, it seems that market that is still a little bit, it's not watertight here. Things can happen. The whole thing can just rise up to multiple fold. And before you can say Trump Canada or Trump US, everything about spiral down. So I will advise you be cautious with that. But with segregated fund, with mutual fund, you can either do 75 over 75, 100 over 100. What does that mean? Simply mean that whatever happened, let there be third world war, so long that people are still living on planet Earth, whatever amount you put into that account, you will get it back at maturity. And ultimately, if life happens, whatever you put into that account, your family will be able to get it. So that's what I call 100 over 100. And some people will say, oh, the payment fee is too much for that. Fine, no problem. You can do 75 over 100 or 75 over 75. All of these are way of you managing your fund, that even if anything happens, you don't lose out completely, and you still have something to fall back on. Let's take, for instance, somebody that just goes straight and put all his money in segregated fund, no proper protection, no debt management process, and no emergency fund, and the market started tumbling. And this is the fund this person is just putting there, so that when it's time to pay the last payment of the school fee, he or she will go there and liquidate and get the fund. And this happen. That alone can send that person into a state of IPP. And if it's not well managed, it could lead to some other health issue. So we need to what? Do it the way it's supposed to be done. I normally run a workshop every day, Monday to Friday, on financial literacy and how to have a solid financial foundation. I do tell people, it is not how much you earn that matters, but what you put those things you earn to. I was listening to an article recently. They call this guy, he has been the highest selling record in the whole world on Spotify. They call him Bruno Mars. But guess what? This guy was owing hotel bill to the tune of $50 million plus.
Whoa.
What does that tell you? So it's not how much you earn.
I like Bruno Mars.
But how you are able to manage your finance. Please, guys, even somebody that is earning less than 1,800 monthly, you see him or her having even a better credit score than somebody that is earning $1,500 or even $600 monthly. So it's what you know that you know. And how do you know? They said Canada, yours to discover. What does that tell you? It tells you that information rule the space, especially within the financial sector. Thank you.
So I heard you said maturity. So is there like a timeline for that maturity? Because someone like me, I want I put a collect now. My husband will tell me, then is kabu kabu you want to do. No, you need to forget about the money. I said, babe, how can I forget money now? The money is there. Let me see it now. So at the moment you mention maturity, I go, okay, let me have that at the back of my mind. So I asked her.
Okay. When I mean maturity, any fund you put it, so long that if you don't want any maturity, you can just put your fund, your savings account, and your current account. The money is there. Nothing happened to it. You can go in and go out as you like. But when you put it into an investment portfolio, be it segregated fund or mutual fund, is always for either 5 years, 10 years, or however, they always leave that window. Now, okay, if I want to pick my money before that time period, yes, it is allowed with some little penal charge. They call it administrative charge because the policy is set up to end in 5 years' time. So all the necessary payment they need to pay to ensure that we arrive at the figure we are looking for in 5 years' time are all in process. So all of a sudden you just want to abort. Yes, you are allowed to abort. However, the penal charge they're going to charge you most time doesn't affect your principal. But your extra money you've made on that money may be affected. So let's assume you put 5,000, and at the time you want to do this thing, you've earned about $100 on that 5,000. You don't expect to see the whole $100 being transferred back to you. Some charges will just apply.
So what kind of charges are those?
Mostly administrative charge. That's just what they, that's the capsule.
Is there like a percentage tied to that?
Yes, it's a percentage. Some will go as low as 2.5. Some will go as low as 1.5. It all depends on the gravity of what to sign for. Is it 75 over 75 or 100 over 100? So it all depends.
Okay. What would you have to say about emergency funds?
Emergency fund. You see, I took a deep breath. People are mistaking emergency fund for a whole lot of things. Credit card is not your emergency fund, though. It is not. Because that money does not belong to you. The banks that's what the banks trade with. That's what the investment company trade with. That's what every other person that gives credit card, that's what they trade on. It is not your emergency fund. It is the money you owe that they collect interest on it. Even if you pay everything, there is an element of interest that is going to be, especially for those who are paying the minimum. They will just say, oh, you spent 5,000. Okay, the minimum balance you need to pay is $50. Yeah, I say, that's good. So you pay $50. It's okay. But by the time you will check, paying $50 minimum balance, out of that $50 you pay, you don't be surprised that the actual amount that will go into the amount you took from the credit card might not be up to 25%. The remaining 75% actually go in what is called interest saving. Emergency fund. Your bank advance is not an emergency fund. I repeat, it's not your money. Though you will be charged on what you spend. Yes. Your emergency fund should be your TSFA. In fact, that's the safest, the fairest of all emergency funds. Not even FHSA. Because that one has condition. But TSFA is your money. You can dash in and dash out. You only lose one or two little things on your on the interest the money has accumulated, not on your principal. I repeat, credit card, bank advance, bank loan, whatever it is, short loan, payday loan, all manners of loan, they are not your emergency fund though, or they are not your money. You pay on it. And if care is not taken, it might even push you into a more debt than you are running away from, that push you to go and join them in the first place. So one needs to be very careful with that.
This is interesting. The emergency funds is not tied to your credit card. It is not what it is.
No.
Okay. As a financial professional, how would you explain the difference between RRSP and TFSA? Because I heard you mention it now. Like, how would you explain this to newcomers, and especially newcomers that are not familiar with these options? And why should immigrants prioritize contributing to these accounts early?
Thank you very much. There are various types of government payouts, especially to senior citizens at age 65 and above. Some of those payouts started as early as age 60, with some penalty for those who are assessing it at early stage. But if you are 65 and above, in fact, they even give you some bonuses, if I may put it that way, when you are assessing it late. RRSP, there are two major benefits you get from it. Number one, what is called tax deductible, meaning that if your room, now this is the period for RRSP, by the end of this February, you can no longer contribute to RRSP to take your tax deduction from last year's tax. RRSP is like registered retirement savings plan. Simply means that it is fund that you are putting aside towards when you don't have the power to do what you need to do again. That is during your retirement age. So that you won't be like most North Americans. So I use the word North America to cover Canada and the US. That even at 67, 70, you see them working in Walmart, Home Depot, Target, and all of that. These are people that are supposed to have retired. But don't take that because there are no people to fill those vacancies, that's why they're doing it. No. The answer is that the retirement they have cannot retire them. What they have on ground is not enough to cater for their need at that retirement stage. Hence, they need to get out there to earn more money. So RSP is your retirement contribution. Whatever you put into your RSP, you don't have access to it until you are age 65. However, if you want to buy a house you can approve, you can take fund from your RRSP, and even if there is any other emergency need and you have that fund there, you are allowed to take that fund and use it. However, there are penalties on it if you access that fund. Though we are going to pay it back, but there are penalties on it. Like for Quebec now, any amount between $0 to $5,000 is about 21% you pay back on it.
That's high.
And it goes up like that. So if the highest is 15,000 and above, so if you are taking above 15,000, some province charge you as high as 29%. Quebec charge 30, within 30 or 31% for any amount you are taking from your RRSP account. However, TSFA is what I call, I will link, compare it to the fixed deposit we have back in most African countries, where you can put your fund to it and allow your fund to go. But government too, because this is an economy that is run on tax. Government need tax for all the good things that makes most of us to run to this part of the world. So they know that if they did not put a ceiling on their TSFA, most of us will just put everything there since they are tax free. So that alone we are cool with it. So TSFA give you advantage so long that you've not exceeded your room limit to put a fund there, and that fund, whatever interest that accumulated on that fund, government will not come near it. There is no tax, so that's why it's called tax-free savings account. But there are limits you can put in it every year. So for those who have been in Canada, like me, I've been in Canada for almost 7 years now. If I have not made use of that, my TSFA room at all, it will have grown as much up to 40,000 or thereabout that I can put in that account, and no tax will be, paid on the interest that comes from it. But for your RRSP, yes, you can still contribute it to your RRSP now, even if you are an employee and you've been deducting some from your account, you can still do your own other contribution too, so long that it's still within the room that is allowed for you. I guess it's about $18,000, and I think 28% or whatever percent of your income that you put into that account. And the money goes and it grows and it grows and it grows. No tax on the interest. And that fund, you can also deduct it from your tax where you're paying, where you are filing your tax the previous year. How do I mean? Let's assume you have $58,000 as your gross, and you put 18,000 into your RRSP account. By the time you are filing your tax the next year, your tax will not be based on $58,000. Your tax will be based on $40,000, because $18,000 is tax deductible from the RRSP contribution you've made. And it also gives you additionality that people don't really talk about, which simply means that if you are to be taxed on 58,000, you might be at a particular tax bracket. But for the fact that you make contribution of 18,000, which was deducted from your gross, and now reduce your earning to 40,000. 40,000 might even put you in a lower tax bracket. So you see that at the end of the day, is a double gain for you if you actually make an effective use of that. However, by the time you will be 65, whatever you want to pay from that account, government are going to tax you. But hey, the question now is, what are you really earning at that time at 65? Perhaps your earning might be even below 18,000 or so. And once you are earning below 18,000, practically there will not be any tax on it for you, right? So that's another advantage of the RRSP. But once that money is in there, you don't have access to it until you are 65. Thanks.
Okay. This is like, you know how they say, learn financial whatever as a dummy.
Okay.
This is like you're just teaching someone that doesn't know anything. Oh yeah, open your brain. This is this.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for that. Like, so much to learn. I hope we're learning, and this is really insightful for me. I'm learning as I go with my pen. Okay. From your professional perspective, how do financial attitudes in Canada differ from those in other countries? I know you've touched a little to that, but I want people to learn from this. And how can immigrants adapt to these cultural differences? I know that even those that have been here for a long time are still struggling. It's only those that have sense that know what's up.
The financial discipline in North America, if you ask me, I would tell that it's very loose. Loose in the sense that we are living in a life or a situation where you spend your future income present. That is what credit card is all about. That's what credit facility that's what credit economy is all about. You spend what you've not earned. You are spending it now. So by the time you'll be working tomorrow, you are working to pay what you've spent in the past. So if you're not disciplined enough, they tell you, especially when they see that you are a new migrant or immigrant, they know that we work like Jackie. So they are ready to offer you all manners of things. They will tell you, come and pick this car, a car that costs over $120,000, and what you are earning is maybe $4,000. How long do you need to save? I remember back in Nigeria, where I came from, all the cars I've ever used in my life in Nigeria, I pay cash down. Even the houses I built in Nigeria, I built from scratch
with your cash,
with my money. So there is discipline there. But here, you can't even get a mortgage. All you need to look for is 5%.
or 10.
And then what? You've tied yourself to that for the next 25 to 30 years of your life. And most of us coming here, we're not coming here at age 15 or age 16. We're coming here at maybe in our mid-40s, late 30s, or early 30s. So add 30 years or 25 years, depending on the type of mortgage you are getting into, add it to your life. So you continue to serve that. Hey, don't get me wrong. Mortgage is good. It's beautiful. But you need to be disciplined with the credit society you find yourself. I repeat, there is no free lunch anywhere in the world. That mortgages, they will be running after you to come and take it. Do you know what? If you collect a mortgage of $250,000, by the time you will finish paying that $250,000, either in 20 years, 25 years, you will have paid almost $125,000 as interest on that mortgage. It does depend on how you structure. I do tell people that when you're going for a mortgage, don't go because somebody is offering you a lower rate. The terms and condition of that mortgage is paramount. Somebody might be giving you 1.7, another person is giving you 1.8, and you are not a foolish person going for 1.8, because the condition with 1.7, if you go with 1.7, 1.8 is a better option than 1.7. Some will allow you that, okay, anytime you have any huge amount, you can come and pay to reduce your principal. And once you reduce the principal from your mortgage, you're actually reducing the interest the institution will get from you. But some will tell you that you're locking. It's another 5 years before you can get out of it. And if you want to get out of it, they will throw all kinds of hurdles right in front of you. And when you weigh those hurdles and what you want to, get out of it for, you see that it doesn't worth it. So you need to remain disciplined. Please don't make impulse buying. Buy what you need, not what you want. My economic classes 101 taught me that human wants are unlimited, but the resources to satisfy them are limited. Hence, we need to make choices, and as we're making choices, you are narrowing all your want to what you need. So if you can do that here too, that particular thing still help. It will enable you to stay disciplined so that you do not see the credit card opportunity to ruin yourself. A lot of people are wallowing in it. And there's an atomic atomic escape from all this debt thing. But that is a topic of another time. So don't let me drive into what the atomic option of getting out of debt is. Thank you.
So you heard, when spending money you don't have, because the credit card money, it's not yours. That's the future money that you're spending at the moment. Exactly. So be wise when you attend to those cards and how you spend on those. There are a lot of tools and resources that are available to improve financial literacy, but they can be very overwhelming. So I'd like to say that you, as an expert, which resources, if you know of any, that are available and that you recommend for someone who wants to accelerate their financial education in Canada?
I'm not saying this. This answer I'm giving is not because of that is what I do. No, I'm saying it because it has actually helped me, even as it were now. I'm sure majority of you will not know that there are several things you can do if you know how to plan your strategy very well. That within the system, you will use the system to benefit yourself. There is a billionaire, current president of the most powerful country in the whole world. There are court cases hanging around him, especially to he's not paying taxes and all of that. But in all those cases, the guy won. Why? Because if you understand the tax structure, you'll be able to build an empire even without your resources. I do tell people, you can take bank advance loan for an economic purpose, not for consumption. Because that loan, that money you're taking, that interest meant to be paid on it. Let me give you one example. My life insurance is this type that has an investment component. So the investment component, I do put a lot of fund. I overfund it most time. So I have a separate account within the life insurance that is growing for me. The second home I got in Mountain is not my fault. We are supposed to pay a down payment on this. That down payment, I do not have enough fund to do that. But the property is a very juicy one. Who will you go to and say, please borrow me money, I want to buy a house? They will look at you and so me, I don't know how to buy a house. But guess what? Because I've learned a lot from what I do. So that's why I say the business I do, a lot of people can even be part of it. It's not necessarily you make money or you earn out of it, but the financial understanding that it gives you is not quantifiable. You can't put money tag on it because it saves you on a lot of things. I approached them. I said, okay, there is what is called cash value in this policy I have. So how much do I have in my cash value? I was told, I said, okay, I don't want to take this cash value because if I take this cash value, that value is what is earning more money for me from this investment aspect. That means I've reduced my investment fund by taking the cash. I said, no, please, can you loan me my own money? Some of you may sound crazy. Are you mad? Why will you be borrowing your own money? Yes, I did that. Why I did that is because that cash value, if I withdrawn it, I would have starved myself fund to continue to invest, and I've also starved myself the return of at least a minimum of 9% on that cash value. And how much are they charging me for the loan? 4%. Even from that 4% they are charging me, 2% of it will still come back to me. So you can see how I use what I have to get what I want. So I did not need to be the richest person around to do that. And guess what? The property I used it for is what they call what they call it now. It's a property that pay itself. So the mortgage, the house pays mortgage. It has nothing to do with me. I even have some extra after the mortgages, the property tax and all of that have been paid. Even if it's just 2%, or if it's just $2 or $20 that comes to my pocket, it's something. Do you know what is going on? I'm building my equity on that property. So tomorrow, if I see that the rent is not that stable again and all of that, I put this house for sale. I can tell you what I'm going to get. I'm still going to get a gain on it. You say, government is going to tax you. Please sit down. There are ways you can get it done. And you are not cheating the system. But like I said, it's not everything you see on live program. Some of you want to know more about this. Please let me know. Get in touch with me and I will explain all the strategy you can use to do. But please, financial education, there are a lot of workshops going on around. All these are just for you to register for. It costs you nothing. But I'm telling you, Canada, yours to discover. What does that mean? It's the information you have that you live with it too. Thank you.
You have heard, Canada is yours to discover. What would you say are some of the financial mistakes that immigrants do, and what do you think they can do to avoid such traps?
The financial mistake most immigrants is just the credit issue, because it's like we're coming from a hot environment. All of a sudden, you find yourself in a very cool environment. So your body is so relaxed and you just flow with the flow, not knowing that there are places you need to put caution and say, oh no, this place is a no-go area. I'm telling you, credit card is beautiful. It's wonderful. Only if you know how to make use of it effectively. I use the word effectively. If you know how to use of it and it's not effective, you might see run into one or two, small scratches here and there. But if you don't even know how to use it at all, that means there is a pitch that credit card virtually have dug for you. And if care is not taken by you not knowing how to use it, you find yourself into it, you are lost. So credit card is good, but if it is well managed, I'm telling you, you are building your credit history, and as you are building your credit history, it opens a lot of doors for you. There are some business opportunities that you might need to do tomorrow, that you don't have enough fund yourself to do it. Banks are there. They are looking for people to come and take those funds because those funds in their vault, they are expending money on insurance and all of that to keep those funds safe. True. So they want you and I to come and get those funds. And you can't go to the bank and say, oh, I have 3 houses, I have this. They do not need your collateral. Who says they need it? Who knows whether those houses you have used as a collateral, you actually want to dispose them? They want to see your cash flow. Okay, this thing, when I start and I build with this, these are what will be coming from it every month, every week, bi-weekly and all of that. They want to see your repayment plan. And once they see that and they do everything around it, even if all of these have worked fine, the last man standing is your credit. So if you don't have a credit at all, it's not good for you. Or you have a bad credit, wow, that even make it worse. I remember I got here March 26, 2018. By April 1st, I went to Macalester to go and get my first Canadian numbers and all of that. But guess what? I could not get it. I have to look for a second signer who signed along with me, and I paid $200 deposit before they can assign a line to me and a phone. Why? Because when I give them my name, my SI number, they check it, I do not have any credit history.
Nothing, blank.
So they don't know whether I am a fraudster or somebody that is financially disciplined. So they want to just be cautious. That's why they prepare for all of that. So that is why I won't say do not, use your credit card, spend it, but please ensure that you are not spending your tomorrow. You are spending what you already have. That's what you are doing. Thank you.
I hope you've learned from that. So what are the 3 financial challenges that you see that can be turned into opportunities for growth? Like what mindset shift should people, especially newcomers, adopt to improve their financial well-being?
Okay, what did it come to mind is, I will use an example. I won't mention name. I have a guy. He's a very close friend of mine. So we were talking about financial foundation. I was doing what is called financial need analysis for him. So it's like you visit a doctor, and the doctor want to take you as his be your what do you call it, family doctors and all of that. So they will tell you to go and do this, to go and do that. So by so doing, they want to know if there are areas medically that they need to concentrate on. So that's what financial need analysis is. It's just to diagnose you financially, to see area of improvement and all of that. So when we look at this, I heard that there are some some bad loan, if I may put it that, about 6 or 7 of them. So there's what is called, I did what is called a debt roll-up for him. What is a debt roll-up? So all of those are now asking that you have Home Depot, you have Rogers, you have this, you have that, and these are just little fund. How come you've not finished paying all this fund? He now said that they are telling me to pay my minimum balance and I've been paying it. I said, okay.
He got trapped.
I said, okay, that's good. No worry. You know what? Going forward, can you spare X amount every month? He said, in fact, if I want 5 times of that amount I requested, that he can do. He said he can do it. I said, okay. Now, let's start with the very first one. Plus the minimum payment, just put that X amount on it. And he was shocked that what's going to take him 6 months to complete, he finished it under 1.5 months. I said, now, that is off your bucket list, right? And that is how we approach until we go to the very last one, which is the mortgage. And mortgage is not something you can just close your eyes and pay it overnight. But then he now has more fun that he can always pay some part of his principal ahead, because he has freed himself of all those debts that were taking his fund away, and the debt, rather than them reducing, they were growing. So with that, he turned that around to his advantage, that the mortgage that was supposed to be for 25 years amortization, he's going to finish it within 20 years. And he has less than 5 years to complete that, because the guy has been in Canada since 1989. So you can imagine that it's not even for those who are new, but some people are not new, but they fail to realize that one thing, that Canada is yours to discover. That is the information that we are not paying attention to. Could be that difference between a newcomer that is doing fantastically well and somebody that have been an old migrant, and what he or she is just working from mouth to mouth and all of that. So that's how one can turn a financial challenge to an opportunity, which I just gave you a classical example of one of my clients.
Thank you, sir. So what are the top 3 financial tips you would like to give people that are coming into Canada for the first time? Like, what are the must do's and the don'ts, and to set them up for success?
Number 1, please, if your proof of fund is not there, please, the country that requested for you, they know how important it is. Let your proof of fund be there. Number 2, I strongly put my chest on the table. Get a credit card. However, as you're getting that credit card, please don't use credit card for impulse buying. Don't use credit card for impulse buying. I repeat that again, because that is what a lot of people do. They know that their bi-weekly payment is not in yet, and they've been looking for one to buy for a while. They don't saw they're doing a promo on it, and the next thing is that what they don't plan for.
Oh, no.
In fact, that promo we're looking at, if you check the original price, it's just the original price that the 4 of us reduce. They increase the price, and the later say they are reducing it. You sit in the old price. Now you fall for it, and you've gotten it. So please be careful. Then second thing, I need to tell you, I do that a lot. I buy off season. You won't see me going looking for a winter jacket in January, December, February, March. We're around May, June. They want this thing off their shop.
And they're clearing off the stuff.
I go get it and just keep it for the next winter. And if it is spring or what they call it fall, I buy opposite season so that you can get. They want this thing to go.
Yeah.
They'll give you crazy discount on it.
Space for others. Yeah.
And who says that a jacket that I've been using since 2019 that doesn't fit 2025? Who says that? So that's another. Then secondly, is that please don't join the bad wagon. What the people you are following as, you may not know. You might be working in the same company. You don't know the kind of investment or even some businesses they are running in their various countries that is also giving them money. You might be thinking that it's their credit card they're using to buy this, to buy that. Even if they're using it, they have a way of paying it back. So if you're not in the same shoe with that, please just do your own thing according to what you can afford. By the time you stay prudent with your finances, I'm telling you, you don't have a problem in Canada. Canada is a very beautiful country with lots of opportunity. But if you mess up your credit profile, everything is almost messed up. You will now start to be looking for the atomic way of getting out of it. Like I said, it's a very toxic one. I wouldn't want to talk on here about that.
Okay, thank you for that. So, like you heard, get your proof of fund that will serve you and your family. Get a credit card. And note, do not get a credit card for impulse buying. And I just learned something useful now. Buy off season.
Yes, buy
off season. Now I have gotten, babe, we're going to get a storage house. We're going to get storage. In the spring, we're going to buy all the jackets and the winter stuff that are in the store. Yes, so just so you know. Okay. Just okay now. As someone with a deep understanding of the finances, what are some of the most common financial terms or concepts that immigrants often get confused about? And can you break down a few of those in simple terms for the audience?
A lot of people get confusing bank, investment company, insurance, credit union, and all of that. The simple truth is that banks are always a great crasher. I repeat, banks are always a great crasher in the sense that, like the FHSA, I remember I've spoken to a lot of people about it. Oh, they said my bank called me, my bank do that. Yes, it is good, but the question I always ask them is that the banks we're talking about, what are they putting your money into? I made the same mistake when we first came in. I opened what is called Registered Education Savings Plan for my children then. So I opened it with the same bank that we open our checking and credit card account with and all of that. Thinking that, yeah, because I've always known about that, and I always, kids are always a priority to me, right? Being a family man, So we opened that. Long story cut short, down the line, I got that banks were not even meant to do such thing. As in, it doesn't solely belong to them. They are just a great crasher. That we have some company that that is their focus. That is what they do. So they know the kind of investment they will put the fund that you are contributing for your child. They know. Especially they use the age of the child, and they also monitor those child for other scholarship that they can get for those kids. But bank, once you put the one I opened with the bank, I think for about 4 months or so before I pull it out, it's just that they just dump the money in GIC. And when I talk to them, what they told me is that, well, I didn't give them any instruction to put it in any investment portfolio. That if I want that, I have to do an undertaking, meaning that that investment, I'll be the one monitoring myself. So if everything goes south, government will come back to you for their own contribution. So when they tell me that, I was like, okay, now I know better. So that's one mistake people do make. Then another thing people do make is, especially newcomer, I kept saying this, especially in New Brunswick, to commute around the major city in New Brunswick. There are buses plying here and there. Vehicle is not the first thing to get into if you do not have a large family. Yes, if even during winter, buses are still working. I mean, you can get a vehicle that are doing services and all of that. But most of us, once we get here, the next thing is want to buy a car. As you are buying a car, especially if you are a student, you are actually increasing your liability. You are not increasing your asset. Because that car needs to be maintained. That car, there are some taxes you pay on that car. Then above all, your insurance. You are new in the country. So your insurance, auto insurance will go up because they will ask for your driver's extract. And when they see that you are new in the country, so they don't want to take an highway. So all these are what people should guide for. They are essential that you need. But certainly buying a car is not out of it. And if you don't want to buy that car, please buy a car that's going to give you a rest of mind. I was once a victim. I got my very first car in this country. Maybe people don't know. I bought it for $300.
300.
But
That's
I
cheap.
spent more than $300. Not in physical cash alone, but in time and energy. Especially during the cold period, that vehicle will never start. No matter where I parked it. So all of these things are what you need to. Yes, I needed a car because I have a large family, right? So you need to watch out for all of this so that you don't get into that trap. Then, when it comes to insurance, I kept saying this. Everything in Canada is built around that. If you are getting a loan from the bank will insure that loan against default. They call it credit insurance. If you are buying a house, there's what is called home insurance and mortgage insurance. So it's centered around all the activities here. And it's so pathetic that we're losing a lot of our people due to shock, the weather condition and all of that. And once all these things happen, the little resources that is not enough within the community, we start, donating them just to go for me to give these people befitting burial. Who say we can't grow our own community? How do you grow your own community? You can just, buy into, even if the cheapest of all life insurance, just have something covers you. A friend of mine passed away recently. When during the funeral, I was just having a chat and all of that, and I just called one of the children. I just called him aside. I said, you know what, this and this and this and that. Please, can you give me your email? And I sent a claim form to him. He filled it out within 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks, it's just that it's a confidential thing. I can't give more details on it. The guy was almost running mad. He called me several. I said, that there is no fraud. That is what your father did on your behalf. He was shocked. Now, that fund is from almost every other person in Canada without doing any GoFundMe, that they make that amount possible. And I just advised the young man. I said, this fund, there are other things you can also put it into that will continue to make life more meaningful to you. So, when you talk about policy, life insurance, it's not about you dying. No, you don't have to die. That's what they call disability and critical illness insurance. He doesn't need to die. I have a guy, he's in Toronto now. He's a young chap. He has a heart bypass. I can't remember what it is with his heart. The guy has a life insurance and a critical illness insurance of $50,000. The guy was laid off. When I mean laid off, they didn't sack him. They gave him up to 3 or 4 months just for him to get better and after the surgery. The guy got his $50,000 paid. I'm sure in 6 months it doesn't even end up to that amount. So all of these are, and how much has the guy contributed? He has not even contributed up to $5,000 to $4,000 to that policy. So these are small ways. I do tell you that the money you spend in buying Big Mac and all of that is not even up to what we use to buy some of these policies that will give you comfort and the family. So please, that's another major thing. Then with your account, please, when you open your bank account, ensure that when they give you your credit card, please, that credit card is for you to start building your credit history. Because it's your credit history that opens doors of everything to you. Anybody that wants to drive 2025 Acura MDS, you can do it. All you need to just, if you are ready to pay this thing, they'll check your credit, and your credit is okay, they will give you. Caveats there. Please, don't go for a brand new car. Buy a used car or all this rental car that they want to put out for sale. You save a lot. If you buy a brand new car, as they are changing that car to your name, almost 10 to 15,000 is already off it. If you want to return that car the next day or even that day, 10,000 or thereabout have depreciated from the car value. So all these are just tips. If you get your finance very well in Canada, I'm telling you, everything works for you. You have blood pressure. What is causing your blood pressure? Maybe there are bills you need to pay, and it's coming due. You don't know how to pay it. You are afraid of NSF, non-sufficient fund charges, and all of that. How it mess up your account and all of those stuff. So once you get your finance very well, every other thing automatically follows in. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, this is like when a financial foundation 101 class where you learn, and then whatever you learn to be useful to you. As an immigrant, like from experience from when you came, if you had any question, like you felt you wanted guidance on, what would that question be when it comes towards financing?
Is buying a house.
Buying a house.
Getting your mortgage.
Okay, why so?
Thank you very much. Because the mortgage is a lifetime thing. If you are 30, you are getting a mortgage, you might need to pay for another 25 years. 25 years is a whole lot from one life. So if you don't get it right, you might continue to regret it. I know somebody that bought a house, he saw it very cheap and all of that, and he dabbled into it. Anyway, the only way out for him was that to sell the house, at least at a discount. So he learned his lesson. But what if he could not even have the opportunity of selling that house? You have to live with it for a very long time.
Was there a problem with the house?
Yes, the foundation of the house, there are a lot of leakages, and that whenever it rains heavily, it's always got flooded. And it affects a whole lot of things. So house is very important. Do all the checks you need to. There is no check that is too much. They will do what is called inspection. The inspection covers a whole lot of things. So if you don't know this, and you just the house is cheap and everybody having a house, you don't want to get a house. No, there is no late comer. It is when you are ready that you are ready.
When you're ready, you're ready. Yes.
There is no late comer. Please, because I knew a lot of people. Once it's land, the next thing is that because there is mortgage. Yes, you can get up to 6 mortgages. Up to 6 mortgages. All you need to do is just look for your down payment. Once you have your down payment, you're good to go.
Interesting. It's truly interesting. So if you would, I was gonna say, do you have any last words for the audience? Is there anything you want to say? I know that you provided valuable insights, opportunities for people, and also myself. I know I've learned a lot today, and I'm truly grateful for that. So, is there anything you would want to say? Last words.
Okay. So my last word for my audience is this: please find time, even if it's just 5 days in a week, to attend Fin 101. We call it financial workshop. We talk more about taxes, how those who are doing more than 40 hours that the government required, how they are paying double tax and all of that. I have friends, even some close family, that fall victims of when they are filing their taxes and they see the crazy tax they deduct. It because they are picking shift here and there, doing overtime and all of this. These are times you can actually use. Yes, Canada is all about multiple streams of income, but overtime is not that thing that substitute for multiple. So you can get the time you use for overtime, you can use it to develop some other trade that can bring fun to you. By so doing, you are saving on it. People don't know that if you have a company that you are working for, that you are running, there are a lot of grants here and there that can actually help you to grow. In fact, from record, if you could be running at a loss for the next 5 years, they won't come and tax you. People like us, we go for lunch with our family, we do family travels and all of that. All these are business expense. So if you make X and Y and you put Z as your expense, at the end of the day, it's either you just break even or you will run at a loss. But remember, you running at a loss is actually taking care of your family and all of that. So please, and finally, we do have a financial workshop which we treat things like building savings and wealth. We also have a study like increases cash flow and debt management. We have another one like preparing with proper protection. Then we have understanding asset accumulation. Some people are accumulating liability, thinking it is an asset they are accumulating. So all of these are what you can actually join live. We run it 3 times every day, Monday to Friday, and it's 1 hour. It's live. You can ask questions. We have it 3 p.m., 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. if you are Atlantic Standard Time, but if it's Eastern Standard Time, we run it at 2 p.m., 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. And I'm telling you,
where's that?
It's online. It's online. It's online. It's on Zoom. It's on Zoom. I can just give you the my website that you can just follow the link and all of that. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll be posting the details, but I'll just go ahead to say it just for the purpose of those that are live and here. So it's www.agents.efgcanada.ca/Abiodun Disu. I will take that again. www.agents.efgcanada.ca/Abiodun Disu. Don't forget that you can also send him an email. Though I'll be sharing all of these details when we post, this video. Disu11 nuj6@wfgmail.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presence. I just want to thank you so much. This is my Ogao. Go for you to show up today. Silver or gold, I have none. But it's a word of gratitude from my heart. I truly appreciate you coming. Thank you for the impactful knowledge I have gained. You see me taking notes. Are you wondering what the hell is this woman doing? I take notes all the time. This is a learning opportunity platform where you can learn. We have great guests show up on various topics that we all can learn from and leverage to get opportunities that might be useful to us in any aspect or in whatever community you're in. And I want to thank everyone for taking our time to show up today and support this podcast. Thank you, all of you that joined today. I truly appreciate. Thank you so much. This means a lot to me. Please, I'll be sharing Mr. Disu's details please feel free to reach out to him. Like he's mentioned, he's available. And also, I think if you're joining the next Fin 101 workshop, you're going to see me there. Just say hi to me and I'll be happy to say hi to you. Like hi, you know, on the virtual meeting. Yes. Thank you so much. Do not forget, for those of you that missed, we're going to be posting the video on YouTube, Live with Bridget. Please subscribe. Follow us on social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you so much. This is a place where conversations come to life. Great conversations that are inspiring. Thank you, and do have a beautiful day.